Hello and welcome to our webinar ABAP on SAP BTP. The webinar will be recorded and you will receive it with the slides in the next few days. Feel free to ask any questions in the chat and we will answer them at the end. And now I will hand over to my two speakers, Agustin and Eric. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Agustin Pighin. I am a software architect at Sovanta. At the same time, I am participating as a managing director of the Sovanta Buenos Aires offices. So we are working closely with the German office of Sovanta as well to deliver our products and our projects. So today we will be presenting you our ideas on our thoughts regarding ABAP environment and the ABAP evolution the latest years. And and hopefully you can bring something out of it. So now let me introduce my colleague, Eric. You can start as well presenting yourself.
Sure. Thanks, Agustin. So, hi, everyone. My name is Eric Nunez. I'm a client partner here at Sovanta. So, I've been here a couple weeks now, so really new to the role, but I'm very excited. My role is really just focused on the US market. So, everything that we're doing in around the globe, bringing it to the US. So, wanted to just jump on, give you a quick brief overview of Sovanta and who we are. So, Agustin, if you could show the next slide.
Yeah.
And this is us. So if you'd like to add us on LinkedIn, there's also a page at the end. We have a slide where you can add us on LinkedIn as well. And this is our contact information, first name, last name @sovanta.com. Next slide. Okay, so brief overview on who we are. We are an SAP Gold partner. So we actually got the SAP BTP Appreciation Award for this year. And we're actually an end-to-end dedicated BTP expert partner. We are really there to guide you from conception phase all the way to realizing the business value that's really affecting your bottom line throughout with BTP. And so we do this through the use of innovation and new technologies like AI, everything new that's coming out with AI as well, and really with knowledge and the expertise of our consultants. So these consultants are with you every day, and they're going to get you and your team up to speed in terms of BTP, showing you everything that's possible within BTP and all of your SAP applications and systems. Next slide. So how do we do that, right? So our consultants have been doing this for over 10 years. They have over 10 years of knowledge and expertise in their respective areas. We have over 250 employees worldwide, and we're able to support you in any time zone. And so we've built hundreds of projects already, and we have amazing references as well. So we've got really strong relationships with SAP HQ in Germany as well, as we were founded by a former SAP board member. So these are the areas that we have expertise in. These are the areas we focus in. So design. So we've got a lot of UX, UI designers that will help you and give you consulting services to help you throughout that process. We also have got the same on the development side. AI is something that we are extremely advanced in. We're probably the most advanced partner in the AI space. And so we're doing a lot of really good work with that as well. And also the consulting side of things, right? We consult on all of these topics. Experience management is also something that we do. So anything around Qualtrics or HXM, success factors is also something we do. So we can help you in any of these areas. And of course, in the end, just reach out to myself or Agustin, and we can help you figure out a way to better your SAP applications. Next slide. I'll pass it over to Agustin from here.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Eric. Well, what's the idea for today? As you have seen in our publications across the internet today, we will try to a bit deeper inside the evolution of the ABAP in the cloud, right? So we'll try to start with a brief explanation of how was the history of this evolution, how we got into the situation that we are right now. Then we will give some explain some the basics about the about environment architecture and some of its let's say more main features. All right. Then we will move towards the ABAP Cloud and again explain a bit the idea behind ABAP Cloud and how this is how you can develop applications using ABAP Cloud. And finally, we will try to come up with ideas on how to leverage these capabilities in order to help you in your journey to clean core, because I think that it's the main, let's say, idea behind it. Okay. Well, so let's get started then. Let me start with a brief history lesson about what was the journey to the cloud from starting on 2014 and until today. So as you might know, around 2014, SAP launched the first version of the SAP HANA Cloud Platform, providing a platform for the customers and providers to create and write application in the cloud. But then the initial runtime framework was Neo, in which you were allowed to create applications, for example, using the Java framework. Okay. Then around 2017, SAP introduced the Cloud Foundry environment, also innovating in the area of the cloud capabilities of the cloud offerings, and also providing a containerized environment in which different types of applications could run in different languages as well, such as JavaScript or Java or even Python. Okay. But of course, that being said, SAP, I mean, all the SAP products run on ABAP, and you might have heard it several times, a big chunk of worldwide transactions touches at some point a portion of ABAP code, meaning that it made sense for SAP to say, okay, we need to also bring our stack and our language to the cloud. And that's why in around 2018, was where the first initiative to bring ABAP to the cloud was born under the name of the project Steampunk. All right. So we will try to talk about this in the next slide, but I just wanted to point out the date. It was 2018, all right, 7 years ago. Then around 2021, the embedded Steampunk became part of the S4HANA public cloud, okay, solution. So this was not only an initiative and a project, but also a reality being used by SAP as a baseline for one of the main products delivery. And on top of that, around 2022, we heard and we learned about the release of the ABAP Cloud, which is actually the innovation on the ABAP language itself. Okay, so and here is where we are right now with the ABAP environment, with a continuous growth and development from SAP side. So that is what I wanted to bring first. The idea that ABAP environments is not like such a new thing. Okay, this is a product that has been developed over many years. So it's based on the ABAP stack. So it has all the history of the ABAP stack, but at the same time, it had 7 years of development and evolution to provide cloud capabilities. Okay, and in particular, I would like to step on the aims or maybe the ideas behind how to bring the ABAP to the cloud. All right. So it wasn't that easy as to bring a server to the cloud, let it on, and everything was fine. No, if you wanted to provide reliable cloud services, then you have to comply with several cloud capabilities. Okay. Among those, for example, SAP needed to provide simplified operations, allowing companies to be relieved from infrastructure operations, updates, and management of the server, such as any cloud service, right? Also, and one of the most important things and difference from the on-premise world was scalability. So we needed to somehow provide a way to scale according to particular needs of the customers or their resource requirements, right? But those, let's say, might be like capabilities from the infrastructure side, but at the same time, and for all those which are in contact with the newer cloud technologies, one of the most important factors on a cloud technology is the way you develop applications, and having a development model which allows you to create applications fast in a standard way. And of course, last but not least, when we are living in the cloud, we are writing stateless apps, right? So apps which could or either provide services to other applications or provide data which will be consumed by the front end anyhow, right? So the challenge from SAP was to cover these two sides. In one hand, a reliable runtime ready for the cloud with cloud native features, as we mentioned, and on the other hand, it needed to provide a reliable and a development model which will be let's say as right as possible to allow developers to create applications in a fast way, right? So that was the aim behind the evolution, all right? So that's why SAP started back in 2017 with Steampunk, trying to renew the runtime, and at the same time leveraging on the back then the newest artifacts which were included into the SAP on-premise systems, such as CDS View when they were included for the HANA database. On top of that, it started to build in artifacts and methodologies, allowing us to nowadays have a newer and much more innovative development model, which is called the ABAP Cloud. All right. Again, this is not something new. This is something that has been developed over the years. All right. That being said, let's move on to talk about a bit the ABAP environment itself and how it's delivered by SAP. In a nutshell, from our perspective, okay, the ABAP environment can be seen, of course, and I don't want to make any wording mistake, but in order to make it easier to understand, in a nutshell, for an ABAP environment instance is nothing else but an ABAP server, okay? It includes a web dispatcher, same as any on-premise server, also include an application server that is connected to the HANA service. The first difference, or the main characteristic out of it, is that it's fully managed by SAP. So SAP handles the infrastructure, handles the updates, and handles the security behind it. So, and this is one of the key features of the ABAP environment from our perspective. So we will talk about it later, but SAP provides quarterly updates to the server, which are mandatory. So you're not allowed not to apply to them. So that brings you an up-to-date server like every time. All right. This is a containerized instance, okay? It's not merely a service, but it's a containerized instance running within a Cloud Foundry environment, all right? Since it runs within a Cloud Foundry environment, within an BTP sub-account, of course, it's tightly integrated with BTP services, such as, for example, mandatory services like the identity management, or integrations, or let's say destination services as well, in order to connect with on-premise systems, all right? Of course, at the same time, it provides scalability features, allowing you to manually or dynamically, and we will talk a bit about it later, scale your resources, so you can assign more resources according to your needs or your workload or the workload or your system, or you can configure in a way that to make it dynamically, so you can also save some resources on the way. Okay. At the development, so how do you access it? And this is the main, of course, difference with on-premise systems. There's no SAP GUI, so you're not allowed to access directly through a desktop SAP application, but the development is done mainly using the Eclipse ABAP development tools. And last but not least, which is something important, each ABAP environment instance contains their own SAP Fiori UI instance, all right? Meaning that all the administration tasks and configuration tasks are handled from this Fiori Launchpad application built in the ABAP environment instance. At the same time, you can use this Fiori UI to create your custom apps or to create side-by-side extensions, as we will talk about it later. Okay. Good. That being said, let me continue with one misconception that we usually see among our customers. When you are, let's say, creating an instance of ABAP environment, you are not creating one instance per application that you need. So the idea here is that and this is a bit different than when, for example, developing Node.js applications using the CAP framework, for example, in which each application is containerized inside one Cloud Foundry instance. When you create one ABAP environment instance, you will have a full-fledged server in it, all right? So the idea here is that you will develop all your applications. Of course, this will depend on each customer needs, either you're a provider or that will depend on you. But let's say as a baseline, you will work within one ABAP environment as if you were working in the on-premise world, right? That being said, we can show you a system landscape example. All right, so this is a first idea. Again, according to your need, this might vary. If you are a customer, this is what usually you will use because kind of resemble the way in which you are working with your on-premise system. But for example, if you're a product provider and you want to have extra features or add an extra quality system, you can add it as well, of course. But yes, just as make an example, this is the recommended setup, okay? And when working in a product environment, we will see that there's no need to go ahead and buy the 3 instances right away. This is just a setup for a productive environment among a corporate transition, okay? Well, those are topics which are about mostly the architecture and how this ABAP environment is seen when instantiated within BTP landscape. Now we will try to talk a bit about some features, some cool features that we think are important to mention and are newer or change a bit the way we were working with the on-premise systems as well. The first thing is how we move code from one way to the other, all right? Because this is very important when you are thinking about migrating your code from, for example, on-premise systems. And then once you have your code within your landscape to see how you move from one place to the other. And here we have news, the way we think of it is that we have 2 separate ways of moving code. Okay, when we are moving code from your on-premise systems to your cloud environment, we are saying that we are doing a code migration. Okay, and there's a process or a way of doing it in that regard. But then when you are moving or code from your one instance to another, we are doing a transport of code as we did. I am also a developer, so I came from the other world, so as we did in the past, right? So, and which is the difference with it? We will go quickly through it. The code migration, the recommended way of making code migrations, there might be others, of course, but we recommend that is through the use of ABAP Git. As you might know, ABAP Git is an open source project which is now backed by SAP from many years ago. So even though it was an open source project, now SAP is participating into the development and evolution of this product as well. So it can be installed as a report within your on-premise systems. And then you are, I mean, we won't get into the details. Of course, we can help you with that in the future. But long story short, you can include your ABAP artifacts, which are in your on-premise system, into a remote repository. And then through the use of the ABAP Git tool from the ADT, you can import the code to your ABAP environment. All right. So code migration, an idea, a recommended approach. Of course, there might be others, but I think we think that was important to show it off a bit. Moving forward, then we see much of a difference when we are, let's say, transporting code between systems, and this is one of the main changes. If you are already working within a cloud, an S/4HANA public cloud landscape, maybe you are aware of it, but this resembles the same this process as well here on BTP ABAP Environment. How does this work? The idea is that there is one new Fiori application running within the ABAP environment instance, for example, on the development instance. So with this application, you can create a new repository, which is called a software component. This software component will be created automatically in a remote repository, which is actually running within the BTP global account of the corporation or the company. Okay, then you can create and pull this repository to your local environment, work there, activate your code, and this through a transport request will be included into this repository. You can push the changes and then pull the changes from the other Fiori application running on the second ABAP environment instance, so you can pull the changes to the environment that you need. Okay, this is a huge difference. I come from the ABAP world, in which we are used to use the STMS transaction to move software from one place to the other, or using ABAP jobs and to do so. This way it's much more reliable for a cloud environment. Okay. Cool. Continue with the features. We can talk about the security management. This is pretty straightforward. What we can do is that, what we can say is that, of course, since we are talking about BTP service, all right, we first of all, we have a layer of security which will be on a BTP level. So you will have to, whatever user, either a developer or a final user of your system, will need to have a BTP user in place. The way of configuring it will be through BTP Identity Federation. That will differ from company to company. Okay, but once your user have access to the BTP and has rights to access the service within the ABAP environment, the same authorizations capability that in the on-premise world remains. So you still can use the classical authorization object management that nowadays with the core data services are still authorization objects, which are configured into control artifacts. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say, explain that since we are kind of living in the same on-premise world in this regard, the operation is quite similar, all right? Then moving forward to additional features. So we have, of course, the possibility to create multi-tenancy application. This is mainly important when, for example, you're a provider and you want to have your own product delivered to different customers as a subscription, for example. SAP has invested a lot on this topic, mainly because there are a couple of SAP products which runs ABAP Environment to provide services, and at the same time, it helps for their providers to create applications in the same way. One of the key features of the ABAP environment is that includes the custom migration tool, all right, the Fiori custom migration tool. This is one of the main uses that we are seeing today for companies which want to do a system migration. So they leverage this tool to analyze their code and see which is the impact of the migration. And finally, it includes several monitoring apps and configuration management, so on and so forth. Okay. A few words about sizing and scaling, how this is delivered. So we are not anymore in the subscription by users. Okay, now SAP allows you to use as many users as you want on the server, but the idea is that you need to define the size of the server in terms of the ACU, ABAP compute unit, which mainly is the memory in which the server will run, and HANA compute unit, which is the size of the database beneath, right? As a rule, there should be always one ACU per two HCU, HANA compute units, okay? And I don't want to get too technical here, but there are different strategies in order to assign these measurements. So, for example, for your global account, you will acquire a certain amount of units in the ABAP units and HANA Cloud units. And then when you're creating a new instance, you are configuring each instance with a certain amount of that of the one you're already bought, right? Meaning that, for example, if you want to run three instances, you might need three ABAP compute units, 6 HANA compute units, then assign for each of the instances 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. There are some configurations that can be done in order to enable, for example, the elastic scaling of the server. We can get in a bit in deep later, but the main idea here is that for each server, there are always two or by two amount of ABAP servers running within the server, and there's a way to coordinate this and try to define exactly how much memory each of the server will consume. So they're pretty tight configuration and management that can be done in this kind of level, okay, even though the infrastructure is fully managed by SAP. One important thing, one of the key features is that it has a system upgrades, 4 major upgrades a year, okay? So with a potential downtime of 24 hours. This is being worked by SAP. The idea is that by next year, we are not sure by when, to diminish this to a 0 downtime upgrade window, okay? SAP is heavily working on this. This is the latest news that we have. And of course, it has weekly maintenance window. It could be 6 hours maintenance window, but it could be less or might not have at all maintenance windows. Then when we talk about the delivery or the subscription model, we see 3 options, okay? As a developer, that if you want to get in touch with the ABAP environment and want to do some tryouts, we really recommend the trial version. It's free to use. You can practice there and write your applications. The only restriction with it that is that since it's a shared service, you are not allowed to, for example, interact with external APIs. Okay, so you can only write local code. Then an option that we really recommend is the free tier. So once you have a global account or a company, you can apply for the free tier, which is a full-feature ABAP environment in which you can do you can use all the tools and the for example, you can use the SAP custom code analysis tool. This is free for use. The only restriction is that only lasts for 90 days. Okay, afterwards you can convert this free tier into a standard option and start paying, or you can delete it and start from scratch. Okay, and of course the last but not least, the last version is the standard version, in which you define which kind of HANA units and application units you pay for, and you use it for your already development and production landscapes. Okay. All right, moving forward, then as we have seen, we have quite a powerful runtime environment for the ABAP world, allowing us to have a lot of cloud features. Now we need to talk about how we develop applications, and that was the answer from SAP was providing the ABAP Cloud Development Model. Within the ABAP Cloud Development Model, we have the RESTful Application Programming Model, which actually define all the artifacts which you can use to build stateless application fast in a standard way. The ABAP Cloud Development is clean core by design, okay? Because if you apply to the ABAP Cloud Development Model, then you will not be allowed to, for example, consume non-released APIs or to modify standard code, meaning that this is really important. We'll talk about it later. The way of developing in with the ABAP Cloud is through the Eclipse ADT. A cool feature is that with the ABAP Cloud, you also have included the extensibility framework, okay? So you can use key user extensibility or developer extensibility. This is not only a feature that you can find on the SAP Cloud Public or maybe in the S/4HANA private or on-premise versions, meaning that you can create your own products and include extensibility options within your own products. Okay, and the last one of the latest news that we had it a couple of weeks ago is that now the ABAP Cloud Development Model is part of the SAP Build Lobby, so that you can create a new ABAP project from the Build Lobby, and then go and modify it on the Eclipse, but then you can use the artifacts within your build framework. The ABAP Cloud Model, one cool feature about it as well is that it's provided, the same ABAP model is provided for all the on-premise editions, the public editions, and also the ABAP environment, giving you a seamless development experience across all the products, okay? So if you are building an ABAP application in the cloud, so it will be the same as the ABAP environment, okay? And I will try to get not much in detail about the RAP architecture, but I will try to explain the aim behind it, because it changed a bit the way we develop application with the ABAP Classic world, right? Now with the RAP application model, we are mainly building APIs that could be consumed by, for example, external services, or could be consumed from Fiori applications. This is like a mindset change when coming from the classic ABAP world, when we creating applications for the desktop app. So the idea here is that as a baseline, you can define your own data model. The data model is where you define your entities, your attributes, the link between the entities. You can merge data, you can convert data, all that can be done through CDS entities, and even you can define behavior, actions, and specific logic using business objects. All right. So that is the baseline. Once you have your data model, you can expose your data model and decide which portion of your objects or your CDS view will be exposed by using a service definition, and then you use the service binding to provide an URL to a particular service and expose this service to the web. And again, last but not least, if you are working in the ABAP environment, you can create your own Fiori apps to consume these APIs. Okay, so that was very, very short, but I want, we are running out of time, but I wanted to quickly show the difference between how, because most of the times when we are thinking about clean core, we are thinking about migrating our classic ABAP code to our environment. And so what does this mean, right? So this is a simple example, right? I come from the ABAP world again, as I said, and I remember back in the days when we were running or creating a simple report, we will create for the data retrieval, we will use multiple SQL queries, bring all the data into the server. Then we aggregate the data by iterating and processing the data using different operations that will convert the data into the right format, and then we will expose the data through, for example, an ALV transaction. Okay, well, all these steps, data retrieval, data aggregation, data conversion, it can be done directly via CDS views right now, nowadays, okay? The power of CDS views is quite, is quite strong. We've been using CDS views since 2016, and we know that the CDS views and this framework is part of the, products of SAP. So this is something that it's really important for SAP, and has already a lot of time in the market and time being updated and evolved. Okay, so it has a right maturity out of it. And of course, then you can expose, instead of exposing via an ALV, you can expose it via, for example, a service to provide to a Fiori application. Good. So clean core strategy. So why we are talking about this product? Because of course this is a cool product that you can use to build your applications in the cloud, but we see it, of course, same as SAP, of course, as a side-by-side extension. So to put it into words, maybe you already know about this graphic. So we need to. So the idea behind clean core is that you need to extend your core with extra custom code. Okay, so when you need to take the decision how to extend it, you might define that maybe you want to extend your core within your SAP stack, and that then you will have the on-stack extensibility options. And then you can also decide, no, I don't want to touch the stack. I want to leave the stack as clean as possible or as easy as possible. Then I decide to go and build extensions in the cloud, right? We recommend that approach, of course. We are not against custom code, all right? We said that custom code doesn't usually mean unclean code, okay? The only difference is that there are unclean technologies and versus clean technologies. Of course, that for you, depending on your requirements, if you are working closely to your transactional data model, maybe you will have to end up building applications within your stack, okay? But for all those requirements which are not so attached to the transactional data and could rely on data from accessing APIs, we really recommend this approach, because you will find out that your core will be much, let's say, easy and free from modifications, which in turn helps you in the future to have better ways to upgrade or less issues when running an upgrade. Okay, so from both worlds, from the ABAP environment world and the ABAP cloud within the ABAP environment, we can see that the ABAP environment provides a full managed service for SAP. So meaning that you are always on the latest version of the system, okay? And that is the very same definition of clean core. If in the ideal world, okay, for all those which are going through a greenfield migration, this is an ideal world. Means that if you create applications or you write code on the ABAP environment, you will always be clean because there are no other ways to do so because SAP is handling the updates of the system. And at the same time, with the ABAP cloud development model, you are enforced to use only released objects, meaning that you cannot touch SAP code. You are not allowed to create incompatible artifacts, okay? And even with the ABAP Cloud, you have a seamless development experience. So if you want to create an CDS view on your, for example, S/4HANA Cloud system, then the same will happen for your ABAP Cloud system, okay? Meaning that you, with this set of tools, you're still creating differentiated processes, but while keeping the upgradability of the system in both hands, right? Good. And then in particular, so mainly the main questions that we receive from our customers is saying that, okay, I'm in this position and I want to go clean core direction. And the starting points are always different, okay? So our 2 cents here about how to leverage the ABAP environment and the ABAP cloud for each of the use cases will be something like this. Of course, if you are already thinking on going to a greenfield migration, or you already did, and you are still in the need of creating extensions, and for example, you have still a great base of ABAP developers, all right? Then the ABAP environment, it's let's say, the most natural environment in which you can grow as well. Why? Again, you will be working on the same software stack all the time. You will be assuring that the custom code that you're writing on the ABAP environment will be always clean, all right? And you can use the skills to build extensions in both sides, all right? That won't change. That doesn't mean that we don't recommend the CAP environment. We really do, and we build a lot of applications using the CAP environment and works really fine. But we see value here, okay, with the ABAP environment as well. A second option will be for those which already did a technical migration to, for example, S/4HANA Private Cloud via RISE or an on-premise server, and maybe technical conversions maybe you are there, but your code is still not as clean as you might want to, and you still have new requirements. But our recommendation here is that if you want to start the journey of clean code, maybe the ABAP environment is the right place for you, because instead of continue growing and maybe mixing unclean code with the code that you already have on your server, you can rely on the ABAP environment to build your applications. On top of that, if you do so, if you, for example, you are already on the S/4HANA, in any S/4HANA version, but you're still not clean, so maybe your upgradability is not as good as you might like. So if you choose to use the ABAP environment, you assure that you always run in the latest innovation, meaning, for example, that you will always run on the latest UI5 version, meaning that you can leverage the latest Fiori elements and Fiori technologies, so that your front end could rely on newer technology while your backend still remains in old technology, okay? That's important. And same thing can be applied for the for all those running an ECC server. An ECC server still provides OData services, okay? So you can still access your OData services from the ABAP environment, and you can use the ABAP environment as the on-hub gateway system back in the days where this was a thing as a, for example, front-end server. A cloud front-end server allowing you to have a foot on the clean core environment without harming too much your system, okay? And also gaining experience when you want to do an actual migration and see how if this is fits for you or not, okay? Cool. Those were our 2 cents about clean core. Hopefully this helps you to understand and to decide. We are a bit outside our plan schedule. Just a couple of more things. You might say to me, okay, Agustin, we need to buy if we, for example, want to keep a landscape, we need to buy 3 instances of, for example, the ABAP environment, and this is costly. Of course, we know, but there are ways, as I said, to handle the costs of maintaining your landscape. So it is quite, so the ABAP environment comes with the functionality of system hibernation, meaning that you, for example, can have your production environment running all the time, but then your development and your quality system could be, for example, turned off at certain times. Okay, so you can define at which time your system could be turned off, and while turned off, the system incurs the cost of the system is reduced by 95%. So it's not a fixed cost, it's a cost by usage, all right? Though, of course, this can be completely handled and managed from the standard version, but for the free tier, there are some restrictions, okay? And well, we are getting to the end. We already mentioned this, but main use cases that we see for RAP and the ABAP environment will be cloud migration of legacy and ABAP customization, as we saw, of course, taking into consideration the new mindset or the stateless mindset, okay? And then, of course, ABAP-based data-driven applications from scratch. So if you want to build a new product, in the past, when we had to build a complete new module within SAP, we will do it within the server. We will create our custom set tables or so on and so forth. Now the recommendation is, if you have this environment, you can totally go there and be sure that SAP have your back, okay? All right, and I just can mention future innovations. This is really important. Maybe next time I'm doing this presentation, I'm including a big portion of the Joule AI assistant. Unfortunately, we were not able to touch it, to put our hands yet, but SAP said that they will deliver by February. And this is really important because on top of the functionalities I already mentioned, the Joule as AI assistant will help you to, will first of all help you to create new applications, but at the same time, it will help you to analyze or to migrate your code. So you can migrate your code, and then with the AI tool, you can get help on how to modify it in a way that could be cloud ready, okay? As I said, with also future innovations go into the direction of the zero downtime. I think this is very important for our customers, and this is something that a must for many, let's say, real-time operations systems. So this is something that we are waiting for, and this is like a kind of future, but it's already a thing. Being ABAP environment as part of the build ecosystem, SAP build ecosystem. And that being said, then we can wrap it up. Thank you for listening. I hope your doubts or maybe or our ideas brought you some clarity on the options that the ABAP environment can bring you and how can help you on your clean core journey. All right.
Thank you very much, Agustin. So if you have questions, you can just ask them in the chat and I will read them. And if not, you can always contact Agustin and Eric. They're there. We'll just wait 1 or 2 minutes to see if there's something in the chat, and then we will finish.
Thank you, guys.
So thank you. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. And if you have still questions, feel free to contact Agustin and Eric. They will answer them.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. Really appreciate it.
Nice afternoon from Germany, at least. So
Yes, here from Buenos Aires.
bye bye.
Bye, everyone.